So once you register the work, you're now entitled to a different set of damages. Okay? The law allows two classes of damages, what they call statutory damages and what they call actual damages.
Okay.
Non-registered works can only get the second one, actual damages. And that usually means a couple of things. Well, certainly, if you sold and resold the work, that means the profit that the company lost by you taking their intellectual property and reselling it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can disgorge those profits from the person who infringed and say, hey, you made 10 grand off of my book. I want that 10 grand. That's my money because it's my work.
Mm-hmm.
You could also get what you might have made if it damaged you and prevented you from selling it. You might be able to claim that in actual damages. What Getty is trying to do is claim that part of their actual damage is that they lost the license fee you would have paid for that image, and that you should pay that exorbitant Getty license fee back.
Okay. Well, you and I know that a lot of people would not have paid that.
Correct, and that their fees are exorbitant for a number of different reasons.
Yes.
They include things you don't want, like exclusive use and enforcement rights.
They're just piling all it on
piling
to
it
make
all
the
on.
number larger.
Larger, correct. Now, statutory damages when you register, which is what MasterFile does, you're entitled to a penalty fee, if you will, per infringement. And that can go anywhere from $200, which is the minimum. If in cases of an innocent infringement, a court can reduce damages to $200, or $150,000 in infringement. So you're also entitled to attorney's fees.
Wow.
You're also entitled to the cost out of your pocket that it took to file the lawsuit and get your work protected. So when you've got that registration, you have a big stake that you're walking in there with, which is you may have to pay my legal fees. And that is really a frightening thing for most small businesses. It's one thing to have to pay what a digital image might cost in the marketplace.
Yeah.
It's another thing to have to pay a very large law firm's legal bills to try to prove
Yeah.
the right to an image. That's why if you look at the Getty letters, as outrageous as the Getty letter is, asking for $1,200 per image, non-registered, MasterFile asks for $4,000
Yeah, I've seen those.
per image.
Wow.
Per infringement. So if you have the image on you have one image and you have it up 5 times, they might hit you for $20,000. And
But again, it's a number they come up with, yes?
correct. It's a number they come up with, and also it's not clear that a court is going to give them everything that they ask for. We think it's the exact opposite. Because as I said before, the damages can get reduced down to $200 per infringement in cases of innocent infringement. But think about that. When you register an image, or when you register a work in copyright, even if somebody took it by mistake, okay, by mistake, or without even knowing it was copyrighted, the least you're going to get is $200.
Right.
That's the best case scenario.
Right.
Okay, so that's how protected it is when you register, and that's one of the main reasons to take the time and register, particularly if you're going to put it out there on the marketplace and you're going to expose it to the world. You know, we have many companies. Most of the people who hire us in IP litigation are folks who want to protect their intellectual property.
But don't they normally hire you to register it versus them registering themselves?
Well, most of the time they come to us, it's not registered.
So do you do it for them?
If they want to, we will do it for them. Understand that before you file suit, you must register. Okay? That's another very important point. You can't file a copyright suit without registering copyright.
Interesting.
So before you file, and Getty does this in the limited number of lawsuits that they have filed around the country, right before they file a lawsuit, they register those images. Now, as more and more lawsuits get filed, that's going to mean what? That Getty will have more and more registered images out there.
Yes.
Once it's registered, it's registered.
Right.
So Yeah, they come to us and they either have registered it themselves or they ask us to register it. But it just has been an indication to me of how much, frankly, people are, for lack of a better phrase, ripping each other off, not realizing the consequences of it. It looks so benign. I mean, I think one of the worst inventions of the computer is the right click and save as on a mouse, because people think that means I'm entitled to it. And I don't realize that's really taking somebody else's intellectual property. And if the other person is upset about it enough, or well-heeled enough and willing to spend the money, or you're damaging them enough, they're going to come after you, and it's fairly easy to prove. You just put up the two of them side by side, and you say, you didn't write that, I wrote that. So, again, registration is important.
Okay.
Using original works for your own websites. You know, one of the things that you wrote a great article on the extortion letter site
Okay.
about boycotting stock photography, because
Yes.
there's almost no guarantee
Right.
as to who owns what.
Oh,
out
it's
there.
incredibly difficult. The more I learn about it, the more scared and concerned I am.
Right, and so people want to decorate their website. What do? And one of the things you recommended quite correctly is just take your own photographs.
Yes.
You know, get a good digital camera, hire a photographer, make the photographer give you a release that you own the images,
Mhm.
and then you can use your own photography. The other thing that we've also recommended is the government is a very good source of material.
They've got a lot of great images, high resolution images, surprisingly.
That's right, high resolution, categorized images. You can search them based on science, you can search them based on individuals, you can base them on historical events, and they're out there for free completely. So, you know, take the time, do it right, and protect yourself so that you don't end up getting sued.
Great. Well, Oscar, I really appreciate you taking the
No
time
problem.
to give our audience this primer as far as how to get started and what they should know. Obviously, copyright issue is far larger than any one video could cover. I mean, that's why you go to law school for such things.
Absolutely, it's a whole class that you take in law school, and frankly,
Right.
you learn it by years of experience. It's a very
Exactly.
complicated area. So these are just some basic tips to keep you thinking about these issues.
Yeah, because it's more and more, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You know, as the years pass by, you know, it's going to be less and less of an excuse. So that's why we take the time to make this video. And we appreciate your time. Thank you, Oscar.
My pleasure.
See you next time.
Take care.